Liverpool Reaction, an American LFC podcast, starts now. Well, welcome back, everybody, to the Liverpool Reaction, an American LFC podcast. Whew. Well, Coach, we squeaked by Leicester City, but before we get to that, big news on Liverpool's front 3-4 days ago. We tied down the big man, Virgil van Dijk, to another 2-year extension similar to Mo Salah's. Coach, it's pretty good news.
Yes, yeah. For me, I always thought that Virgil van Dijk out of the three was the key one to focus in on. And I know that not everybody agrees with that, but I just feel that besides being a top defender, he's just got so much leadership and presence. And that's not easy to duplicate. And so we've got 2 out of the 3. Could it be 3 out of the 3? Well, probably not, but you never know.
Yeah, very squirrely game this morning between Leicester City and Liverpool. Mo Salah had a chance early on to put Liverpool ahead. He hit both posts on a shot, and they didn't go in, or it didn't go in. And then on the other end, maybe 3-4 minutes later, Leicester City hits the post. And then the game just kind of was a little cagey, although we did have the majority of possession, shots, all that stuff. Just couldn't find the back of the net. And then in the 76th minute, after Trent maybe has been on for 10 or 15 minutes, a mad scramble in the box, post and a crossbar was hit, kind of ball bounces around, gets to Trent, and Trent with a left foot just buries it. Great celebration from him as well, takes his shirt off, runs to the corner flag to celebrate with the fans. Coach, it's as far as the game goes, you know, Leicester City's being battered by teams left and right, and they gave us a good fight.
They did. But I watched the game a couple of weeks back against Newcastle, and in that game against Newcastle, they still had vague hopes of maybe getting points and maybe being safe. So they played pretty open. And after the first few minutes, I mean, like, the game started brightly. Then it appeared to me that Leicester's plan was to sit deep, try to restrict Liverpool, which they did. And then when they brought the subs on for the last quarter, that's when they might try to go and get a result. And that's pretty much how the game panned out, because they're not great defensively. But having said that, it was just sit in, block off the spaces, don't let Liverpool penetrate as much as possible, and see if we can frustrate. And so it certainly worked for 3/4 of the game. And then once the 2 subs came on, Daka and Buonanotte, I thought that's when they started to go for it, and that's when Liverpool started to get clearer opportunities. And there was that kind of scramble before the goal where it hit the bar, it hit the post, and it was Trent, obviously. That was kind of a vicious finish. I thought he really cracked it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of passion from him, obviously, because we don't really know what he's going through right now. It does look, and it's looked ever since the start of the season, that this is his last year, but he hasn't said anything. And I don't blame him for that, because if he had have said something, then, I mean, I can remember when Kevin Keegan left back in the 70s, and Keegan let everybody know early that he wanted to go. It was just he didn't know where he was going to go, but he let everybody know that this was his last season. And there was part of the crowd that didn't appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And so I think that whatever Trent has decided to do, whether to say nothing as he has done, or if he had have said something, it's just a no-win situation. It's a no-win situation for him. And I've just been listening to the radio and some of the Liverpool fans, and they're still not happy with him. one fan wasn't happy with the way that he celebrated. So felt it was kind of an affront to the fans, but I didn't really read it that way. I just kind of read it that it was a vital goal. He's been going through a lot, and he just still has that passion, and that's what I felt came out.
Yeah, I don't know what we're expecting from him. He's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. I mean, if his intentions are to go to Real Madrid, I think, there's two schools of thoughts on that, right? He's a Liverpool born and bred player, but also he's entitled to make decisions to try something different. It's not like he hasn't been successful with us. He's been very successful. It just, I don't know this uproar about, what we're expecting. I mean, do you want him to say that he's going to Real Madrid now? Then you'll be upset that he said he's going to Real Madrid. Do you want him to say he's staying? Maybe the reason he's not saying anything is because he's not staying. But let's let it play out. There's a lot of factors here. The reality is we know one thing, two things actually. We know he's a Liverpool player now, and that he hasn't signed with Madrid. That's what we know. And give the guy a break. Then we'll talk about, he wasn't good defensively or blah, blah, blah. And, at the end of the day, the guy's got a right to make a decision that's best for him. Is it upsetting? Not really, but it's, he's been a great player for us. And if there's any time to go, I think now is the time where he's won everything and he can go try something different, experience something different, whether it's at Real Madrid or wherever. But let's cut the guy a break and let's kind of enjoy the rest of the season, because he saved our hide today. And now two outcomes came from that. One, Leicester City's officially relegated. And two, Liverpool are 3 points closer and 3 points away from winning the Premier League title. And what a celebration that's going to be. Coach, there's two outcomes here. There's, if Arsenal loses on Wednesday against Crystal Palace, title's ours. If they don't, then if we beat Tottenham, title's ours. So I think next Sunday or Wednesday, we will be jumping up and down with a Premier League title.
Well, I hope Arsenal doesn't lose. It was the same this weekend. I mean, Palace has been on a reasonable run apart from the last couple of games. Mm-hmm. So that would be interesting. But I'd be surprised if they beat Arsenal, unless Arsenal's not focused. But no, I think it would be great if they clinch it at home, as I think we've said before, because they missed the opportunity the COVID year. So, it'll be more of a celebration. If they go into the Sunday game knowing that they're already the champions, yes, it'll still be a celebration. But so much the better. It's more exciting. I mean, in my lifetime, showing my age here, Liverpool have won the league 14 times. So this will be number 14 coming up. And when I was living in the UK, I saw them clinch the title once, 1966 against Chelsea. And so the thing that I remember about the game, wasn't a great game, by the way, but it was just the atmosphere because they needed the win. They got the win. It's a beautiful day. Everyone's excited. And they didn't celebrate it back then like they do now with a big presentation and everything. I mean, like they did a lap of honor. And then one of the fans had made up a trophy, which wasn't the league championship trophy, but that's how it was done in that era. So there was lots of celebration, and then they went up in the stand and they sang along with the fans and all this kind of stuff. But whatever happens, it'll be nicer if they have to go to get the win. But if they don't, should Arsenal lose, then hey, it's still a title, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, it's still a title. Yeah, absolutely. Coach, we've looked a little bit toothless up front, and as the game was going on, I was just I'm glad the season's kind of coming to an end because it seems like we've lost some creativity up front, some bite, some finishing, and if this kind of form occurred, middle of the season, I'd be really worried long term. But the season's coming to an end. The title's right there. And, I think it's definitely clear that reinforcements are needed. That's going to be a talk for another time. But as far as this team goes, they're getting the W's. And at the end of the day, the 3 points are the most important.
Exactly. I mean, Liverpool have good attacking options, but I don't feel that they've kind of got the right combination for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And with the current group of players, I think that they have to rotate Salah, whether he likes it or not. I think that would be part of it, especially if he's not scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's how they use the other guys. But yeah, it seems from all the rumors and everything that that Darwin Núñez is on his way out. There's also rumors concerning Diaz and Jota. I can't imagine that they would want to sell all three, but I think I could see them maybe changing a couple of them for sure. Depends what Slot wants.
For sure, Coach. I think also, Liverpool likes to be in a power of position when making deals. So I think there might be one out, two in, another one out, another two in, something along those lines. They're not going to, empty all the guys that are surplus to requirements right away. They are going to wait to get the best deals for them, but also from a power of position standpoint, they want to be able to negotiate without other teams saying, well, what are you going to do? You've already sold 4 or 5 players now. So the price goes up 10, 15%. And Liverpool has been very shrewd throughout the FSG era with these types of signings. So I do anticipate a very strategic type of exit and entrance of new players.
Right. And I think, as I say, I think Darwin Núñez is likely to go because clearly, I don't think the manager sees a consistent role for him. Plus, they can get a lot of money for him if he goes to Saudi Arabia, which is what some people are talking about. And then Chiesa wasn't even on the bench today, so yeah. I mean, like my feeling all along with Chiesa, I mean, obviously he was a top player, but he's had injury problems. I think that they just took Chiesa because he was cheap. It was a gamble. It was a gamble, and if he hit top form, then obviously it's a gamble that pays off. And I think there's plenty of clubs in Italy that will come in and buy him. So I think they're too likely to go. And then you've got a younger player like Jadon Danns, who unfortunately has had injury problems this year, but is a talent. There's Ben Doak. I mean, he was doing brilliantly with Middlesbrough, but he's injured. He seems injury prone. Doak. So I mean, but Doak is a player that they could sell, and they could probably get in excess of 20 million for him. So they might look at that and say, well, it's worth selling him because they can put it towards, like a player that's 40 million or more. So yeah, I think you're right. It's a conversation for another time, but I think there are going to be changes in attack.
Coach, tactically, was there anything that Slot could have done differently? I know I've asked you this question before, as far as when teams park the bus, and you've the solution to that is moving the ball quickly back and forth, side to side, to find some openings. But anything else that Liverpool could have done? Because I'm wondering if Salah scored at the beginning of the game, how that would have impacted the rest of the game. Would have Leicester just sat in, or would they have at that point have to go?
I don't think that they'd have sat as deep. I mean, I don't think that they'd have gone gung-ho, because they did that against Newcastle and got slaughtered. So I don't think that they'd have done that, but it would have changed the complexion of the game. I mean, one thing that I'll be interested to see, and really it's to do with Arne Slot. I mean, he's done very, very well, as we all know, because he's going to, in his first season, bring the club a title. So that isn't to be sneezed at. But we've yet to see Slot in kind of a variety of different situations. So he's never been in a situation where he's kind of lost a key player for a significant amount of time. He lost Alisson Becker for a while. I mean, Liverpool have a very good backup, and I'm not sure how much tactically that affects the team. But if he had lost Van Dijk, like, that tactically would impact the team, definitely. So I've not seen him in that situation. And I think I would have to agree with the common thought that his rotation, he hasn't really rotated. And I believe we've talked about this before. I mean, just say, for example, if Liverpool had an injury run, maybe not as bad as the previous year, but say if they'd lost 3 or 4 players, then all of a sudden, Elliott, Endo, Chiesa, like these kind of players, how would the manager have coped? How would he have used the players? So we don't know the answer to that. What we do know is part of the reason for Liverpool's good injury record is he's clearly, between the way they've trained and then the medical staff, they've managed injuries. So there's not been a lot of muscle pulls, hamstring injuries, so on and so forth, which are very, very common when you're playing such a demanding schedule as Liverpool do. So, okay, they've done well in that area, but then they've had the good fortune that major players haven't been out for significant periods with injuries that you can't control. So if they were to do an ACL or something like that, they've not had that kind of circumstance. So, I think there's questions to be answered, and I think they will be next year, because some players will depart, players will come in, and whilst Liverpool is big on data analysis and everything, I also get the impression that there's going to be a lot of conversations with the coach, so that they get or they chase the kind of players that kind of fulfill good data and then what the manager feels that the team needs. So we will start to see more of an Arne Slot team in the future.
Yeah. Coach, as as I described earlier, the potential that, Wednesday it could be over. It could be over on Saturday. It feels a little anticlimactic, doesn't it? Well, and it's strange to say, but it's like it's not. It feels that way.
It does, because there's not really been a proper title chase this year. Liverpool has always had a lead, and then when Arsenal's had opportunities to kind of claw something back, they very rarely have. And it's not that they've lost a lot, but they've drawn a lot. So every time you draw, you drop 2 points. And if you draw 3 games, then I mean, it's the same as 2 wins. So they've dropped points regularly this year. And so there is a little bit of an anticlimax. And I think, as we've said before, that in this modern era, this Etihad era, Manchester City, I mean, back in the good old days, teams would be happy with 1 trophy, like maybe they might get a double or something like that. But that's pretty much the way that it was. The trophies were shared around a little bit more. The Manchester City era has changed that. And I think that kind of feeds into the narrative that it seems a bit anticlimactic. Particularly as Liverpool had such a strong start to the Champions League, and then of course they got to the final and they lost.
Yeah. Speaking of Arsenal, I mean, Coach, I don't know if you got to see the games against Real Madrid, but not sure if that was just kind of a matchup problem. I know Real Madrid isn't as good as they have been in the past, but they're still, the champions of Europe consistently. And Arsenal made mincemeat of them over 2 legs, 5-1. So I think from their standpoint, knowing that the league is, done, that it makes sense that they put their eggs in that basket because they're going to finish. They're going to finish top 5. I mean, they'll probably finish second. So in this league, Coach, as we look forward, there's a couple games. What's that? 4 games after this? 5 games. So Tottenham, then Chelsea away, Arsenal home, Brighton and Crystal Palace to end the season. So now that with these games, we had a little discussion of this last week as far as should Slot play around with things and bring in players, and you thought maybe that he'll kind of continue to accrue points. Has your thought process changed on that, or you still feel that he'll still play the big guns in these games that might not matter sooner than later?
Again, I don't know. I would prefer that he kind of looked at a wider range of player, because, I mean, how many players are Liverpool going to bring in over the summer? I mean, it could be 3 to 5, but a lot depends on who they are and what the prices are for them. I mean, because typically one of the characteristics of Liverpool's recruiting, and I think that Alexis McAllister stands out in this respect, is they basically got him for a bargain price. Top player, World Cup winner and all of that, Premier League experience. But, I can't remember what the fee was, but it was a lot less than you would think. So I think Liverpool...
35 million, yeah.
Yeah. I think Liverpool look for those kind of bargains, if that's the right word. And so will they look to make a statement signing? They haven't done that in the past. I mean, players like Van Dijk and Alisson, if they hadn't just sold Coutinho, would they have bought those players? We don't know. And there's no significant outlay for a player. If they sell players, I mean, like they'll sell Kelleher. What are they going to get for Kelleher? I don't know, 25 million maybe, something like that. Say Ben Doak, if they decide to sell some of their academy players, Doak could probably get 20 plus million because he's young and he's got a lot of potential. And I'm trying to think, I mean, who else are they going to sell? Diaz kind of dreams of going to Barcelona. So, so the rumor mill says Barcelona don't have a lot of money, apparently. So they would have to offload a couple of players to get Diaz. So they would, in theory, get a good amount of money for Diaz. Sounds like they'd get a good amount of money for Darwin Núñez, as we said earlier, if he goes to Saudi. If he wasn't going to go to Saudi, what would he go for? 40 to 50, I would guess. It'd be less than they signed him for. But, so... Yeah, there'll be interesting conversations to be had once the season's over.
Coach, the anticlimactic aspect of this, I know that regardless, I'm going to be excited about it. And I think you're right that if it happens next Sunday in a back and forth game with Tottenham, a 3-2, 4-3 type of score, kind of like they've been in the past with this team, and getting the win would kind of spike the excitement, don't you think?
Right. And I mean, it's anticlimactic from the point of view that Liverpool have been so far ahead. But I don't think that if you're in Anfield next Sunday watching the game, it'll be anticlimactic, as long as they don't lose, of course. But
Sure.
I mean, like, it'll be very similar to when Klopp did his final game last year.
Yeah.
It'll be that kind of passion and feeling and atmosphere. So on the actual day itself, I don't think it'll be anticlimactic, unless they don't get a good result, of course. But yeah. So anticlimactic in the general sense, but not on the day.
Yeah, and Tottenham, I believe, are in the Conference League semifinals now, so they might be having one eye on that as well. So, Coach, as always, thank you for your insights, Liverpool fans. It is right around the corner. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, or if you listen on podcasts, please go ahead and follow the show. And next time we chat, we could be celebrating a Premier League title. And more than likely, that's probably what's going to happen. So, Coach, I might have a beverage in hand, an adult beverage in hand, while we do this next week if we lift the title. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. As always, we appreciate you, and we will talk to you next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye now.